I will be your facilitator or moderator for today. So before we go ahead and start, I would just like to invite each and every one of you to just type in the chat your names and where you are joining us from so that we can get to know you better before we start with our session. And can I also just confirm in the meantime if Isaac Mapanga is joining us?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Yes, please everyone just go ahead and tell us where you are joining us from in the chat below. And as I have introduced myself already, my name is Mukona Zothe. And while you're introducing yourselves, I would just like to give you a quick recap of how the past few days went, because we have had this virtual forum from Wednesday and today is the last day. So just to catch you up and to make sure that you are aware of what we have discussed at the previous 2 days, I will just give you a brief recap, but it's going to be quite comprehensive as well. So we begin with reflections. This is as of yesterday. We began with reflections on Africa's potential agriculture and food systems, which highlighted the continent's fertile land, innovative youth, and strong research capacity and opportunities as well for growth that are there. And we also had speakers acknowledge ongoing challenges such as food insecurity, climate change, crop diseases, and post-harvest losses and limited market access. And the participants were also encouraged to strengthen partnerships and collaboration to support sustainable development and innovation. There was also a key session that was focusing on shaping food environments in transitioning economies for sustainable and healthy diets. And this examined how food environments influence diet quality and nutrition outcomes in countries including Tanzania, Ghana, and South Africa, and Malaysia as well. And there was an emphasis on food environments going beyond food availability and including affordability, accessibility, convenience, as well as desirability and sustainability. And the discussions also highlighted how unhealthy food environments are contributing to poor diets, obesity, and increasing non-communicable diseases, especially in urban vulnerable communities. There was also an exploration on how rapid urbanization, globalization, and changing consumer preferences and economic growth are reshaping food systems and influencing dietary patterns. And there were findings that showed that many of the urban populations depend heavily on informal food systems such as street vendors and informal markets. And this is mainly because they provide affordable and accessible food. However, those same environments also expose consumers to unhealthy, ultra-processed foods that are high in sugar, high in salt, and also unhealthy fats. And presenters also noted the growing double burden malnutrition, where food insecurity exists alongside rising levels of overweight and obesity. And there was also another important discussion, which was focusing on the evolution of food policies over the past 4 decades. We had speakers that explained that policy priorities have been shifting, and they have shifted from food availability and food safety now towards nutrition and healthy diets, including measures such as sugar taxes, food labeling regulations, and also restrictions that are targeting unhealthy food consumption. And however, concerns were also raised that many policies still do not adequately support the affordability of healthy foods, such as fruits and vegetables, which highlighted the need for stronger nutrition-sensitive interventions. On the second half of the day, we focused on innovation and food safety through the Food Safety for Africa initiative. And we had presenters emphasize that food safety remains a major public health and challenge across the continent, particularly within informal food systems where infrastructure, regulation, and information access are often limited. And we had several innovative initiatives that were showcased, including stakeholder mapping, food safety knowledge hubs, and QR code traceability systems, as well as digital information platforms. We also had speakers stress that improving food safety requires coordinated partnerships among governments, researchers, and development partners, and the private sector and informal market actors as well. And the discussions highlighted the role of innovation hubs and digital platforms in supporting scalable, community-driven food solutions across Africa through mentorship, collaboration, and capacity building opportunities. In the same light, today's discussions will continue building on those reflections with a focus on circular bioeconomy, youth and digital markets, and strengthening science policy interface. And we are privileged to have distinguished speakers and participants that are joining us from diverse institutions and countries and are bringing valuable global and regional perspectives to the conversation. And I would just like to encourage everyone to remain engaged throughout the sessions and share reflections in the chat and also participate during the question and answer discussions. And without any further delay, I would love to move to the first session of the day, which is the 7th session. And session 7 is focusing on circular bioeconomy and market systems transformation. And this session will be led by the Circular Planet Institute and presented by Isaac Mapanga. Isaac Mapanga, I would like to invite you to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay. Let's see. Try to share my screen now. Yeah, thank you everyone and welcome to today's session on how do we accelerate bioeconomy for resilient food, health markets in Africa, taking opportunity of the bioeconomy market that we have currently going on. Yeah, as the moderator said, my name is Isaac Mpanga. I'm currently located in Dallas, US, and I'm the founder of the Circular Planet Institute. The work we do at Circular Planet Institute is it on presentation mode? That's a quick.
No, it's not in presentation mode.
It's good now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the work we do as Circular Planet Institute is focused on circularity and regeneration. And today's session, I'll be trying to take through a more perspective on how that is a key contributor to what is happening in Africa right now. Originally, I'm from Ghana, and anytime I'm back home, I try to do a lot of engagement with farmers, and this is one of the sessions that I had with farmers in the cocoa sector, just as engaging with them with my extension experience, just to understand what they're going through and share knowledge with them as well. Yeah, so I grew up in Ghana on a farm. And then I moved to do teaching and then moved to Germany where I did my master's and PhD in crop science and agronomy respectively. And then moved to the US where I supported extension work with the University of Arizona as a faculty. And then from there, I also joined industry, PepsiCo, ERA, to support with regenerative agricultural activities as well. And in doing this, we identified some gaps that existed in the food system. So we try to bring our experience in all of these fields together to see how we can also support the food systems as well. Yeah, so as I mentioned, CPI is is a global player that is positioned to support circularity and regeneration in our food systems. A lot of people are talking about regenerative agriculture today, but there's also a lot missing about circularity. As we look at the presentation today, you see that we'll be talking a lot about food waste. How can we turn those food waste into resources instead of seeing them as waste? Yeah, so that is what we are doing at CPI. And today's conversation, we thank the organizers for bringing us on board to kind of share our experience and see the opportunities that exist in Africa as well. Yeah, so as I mentioned, what we currently do is we have what we call the verification program, which basically is a program that when you go through, you'll be able to, just like somebody who have organic agricultural system, you also be able to certify yourself as a circular regenerative producer or product. And then we develop strategies around this, project design, training in the systems, and also do reporting as well, capacity building, research, and development as well. Yeah, so somebody will ask, why is CPI so interested in this? And one thing I want to say on this slide is that circularity and regenerative agriculture is not a new concept in Africa. It's something that our fathers have done throughout their lives. So it's a core part of their system until the Green Revolution came, and then the use of synthetic chemicals and all of these other stuff was introduced to the system. Yeah, personally, I grew up on a farm, and this is my story here. Growing up on a farm in Ghana, my father will harvest the millet. He will sell it to a local woman in the village who does what we call the pito. And if there are Ghanaians here, they understand what the pito is, especially from the northern side of Ghana. And once the pito is done, there is a byproduct called the pito chaff that is out of it. My father will ask me to go to the woman's house and take those pito chaffs and send them to the farm to feed our chicken. I mean, as a young boy who want to play soccer after church on Sunday, I didn't understand what my father was asking me to do. So it was a burden to me sometimes. But growing up, getting into science and research, I understood what my father was doing. Yeah, so just to say that these systems we call today, whatever we call it, agroecology, regenerative agriculture, circular regenerative, whatever, they are not new things to most of our parents, and most of our youth can learn from them, right? Yeah, so it's just a matter of how do we package it in the lens of science. And most of the speakers in the past 2 days said a lot about it. The new system using the synthetic chemicals, I observed that anytime I'm in Ghana, some of the farmers don't understand the labels. They cannot read the labels. Even if they can read, in some cases, they spray and then harvest, not respecting the residual time that they have to leave for the residues on the chemicals on the harvest to not be poisonous and not be dangerous for health. Some of them end up harvesting those into the market. Yeah, so there are a lot of food safety issues here and there. Even the chemicals are so expensive and they cannot afford it. So why don't we emphasize on our traditional ways of farming in a way that we can adapt it to generate new market for the youth? And now coming to any way that is being repackaged right now, regenerative agriculture, whatever, is perceived as if it's new to Africa, but it's not new. Yeah, so how do we gather that knowledge in a way that we can package it into a new market stream for the rest of the world? Yeah, so just to give a little bit on how productivity is measured today, is kind of skewed towards the use of synthetic chemicals. Because when you see this graph here, it's basically taking the output and then the input, and then you take the ratio of that, and it's basically ignoring other factors that the food system actually impact also. And when you see this projection, it's that we have to increase productivity when you see the projection. But in some cases, it's not a matter of increasing productivity by just using input. It could also be the matter of increasing productivity by managing what we already produce, right? And we can see that, for example, biodiversity, soil health, emissions, and food waste management are not considered in this measurement that we use to gauge how productive or sustainable our food systems are. Yeah, so this is important because when we look at the food systems, it's a lot of our natural resources are used to produce these food systems, right? This food for us. And if we are measuring the outcome, what success of our food system looks like, and these factors are not considered in those measurements, then it's a little bit problematic. And the more problematic of it is even that after producing all of that, globally, 1/3 of the food produced go to waste. And I always give this analogy that there's no one who produces, there's no businessman who wastes 1/3 of what they produce and consider themselves successful, right? But when you look at the total factor productivity that I showed earlier, it kind of shows a success trend, but we are still wasting 1/3 of it. And you see that in this chart here, I try to estimate to see, okay, when you look at globally, how much food is being wasted within the US, Europe, and then Africa, and at which stage does the food waste happen, and where we can pick the opportunities from. And when you see in this graph is that globally, it's about over 1,000 million tons. And then when you look across board, Africa is a little bit higher than Europe. But when you see where the food waste happen, you see that most of our food waste happen pre-retail. So it happens where we can easily mobilize it and turn it into other useful resources in a way. So there's an opportunity for us to be able to improve on food systems management from production pre-retail so that the waste can be minimized. And even if we are not able to minimize it and it's turned as waste, what else can we do with it? Can we use it as an animal feed? Can we use it for composting, whatever we can do, instead of just letting it go to landfills? And we have some case studies that I'll show a model farm from Kenya in this. Yeah, so globally, where mostly the food waste happen is it happens either at the farm or just pre-harvest, and that means that when that happens, you have less food available for consumption. And if less food is available for consumption, farmers have the pressure on them to produce more. All right. Yeah, and the pressure to produce more, as I showed in the earlier productivity graph, is that everybody is saying more productivity, we have to increase food production by X amount of percentage as our population is increasing, but not much focus is focused on, not much energy is focused on how do we make what we're already producing more resource. And you see that as we waste more, we will need more land, more resources, more input to produce more. And that leads to deforestation, air pollution, soil degradation, climate change issues, biodiversity loss, water loss, and all of these things, you see that the impact of food waste is very, very intense on our systems that we need to pay a lot of attention to. So food waste is not just food waste. It has economic implications, it has environmental implications, and it also has health implications as well. So what is the value in terms of food waste? I try to just in context to see, okay, if we estimate how much food waste we have versus just put it in context so people will have a little bit of understanding what we are working at, right? So when you look at the value of food waste, it's estimated that globally it's almost a lot of money. When you look at the value here, it's a lot of money, almost 2,000 billions, right? And when you look in the context of Africa, you see that it's about 175 billion in food waste value. In context, how much do we export? It's about maybe, let's say, 4 billion. So you see that even the food waste value is more than how much money we make when we put all our exports from the continent together. The food waste value is actually more than that, so many times. And when you look at somewhere like Europe, you can see that their export is more than how much they waste. So in the US, it's also a similar trend like in Africa, where the food waste value is more than how much we gain in our total agricultural export. Yeah, so these are opportunity areas that we can look at. Okay, food waste management itself is not only about food security, it's also about job creation, it's also about the economy that we can enhance in our continent if we are able to take it as an opportunity to manage it. Because managing food waste is also going to be job creation for the youth, and job creation for the youth is going to be economic value for the continent, health for our communities, and also taking care of nature as well. Yeah, so this kind of summarizes it very well that I wanted to share, to just say that environmentally, food waste contribute about 10% of global emissions, and economics is about, this is estimated to be about 940 billion. And when you look at in terms of food, how it impacts food security in our continent, it's about 783 people around the globe faces severe food insecurity. Yeah, so you can see that the numbers are all over the place, depending on who is looking at the estimations. Yeah, so somebody say, okay, there's regenerative agriculture going on. Why do we need to be talking about circular regenerative agriculture again? Yeah, so when you look at it in the context of environmental context that most companies are looking at and most people are focusing on right now, the impact of regenerative agriculture alone without circularity is very minimal in terms of net zero. Yeah, so there's not going to be much contribution to how much impact we have if we focus on just regeneration, because most of the people, especially in developed countries, what is considered as regeneration that they can easily do well at scale is just cover cropping and reduce till. But in the context of Africa, because of small scale farming and also closer production to consumption, there is a lot that can be done in that sector to kind of include the circularity as well. And this estimate that when you look at halving the nutrient loss, that alone will contribute about 75%. Yeah, so it's a very big opportunity area. And nutrient loss occurs once harvest happen at the farm. You are picking nutrients from the farm. Yeah, so how can we reduce that loss by taking it back if we are not able to use it to the field? Yeah, so circular, just to give a simple comparison between these three systems, a conventional system, we know just a destructive system produces greenhouse gases, pollutes water bodies, biodiversity loss. Regenerative kind of come to enhance that a little bit by looking at soil health improvement, but circularity kind of create that linkage, right? Doesn't just happen at the farm. There's a linkage from consumption to production and production to consumption. So that linkage need to be there to establish a whole landscape approach. And that is where the circularity and regeneration is more important, because every stage of our food system cannot be isolated. They are interlinked. And we have to look at it that way if we want to really make an impact. Yeah, so this is just to give a little bit emphasis on the benefit that we get if we create these circular regenerative systems. Harvest losses may be reduced because of the linkages that we're looking at. Enhanced storage facilities will be looked at as well. Local processing, as most of the speakers have indicated, in our urban areas, and food markets, stands. And we can package these things in a very nice way that we can use it as an IP, as a marketing, and each stage of this, each one of these aspects is job creation also. So as we look at this as an economic opportunity, we also look at it in the context of the youth and also the population and what it's bringing into the economy as well. Yeah, so this was just a quick oversight that we did in one of our programming, and then just ask the participants, okay, if you have the opportunity to choose between conventional farm, regenerative farm, and circular regenerative farm, what will you prefer? And this is just to emphasize that, yes, people are more interested in food systems that are more closed loop, reduce waste, and increase economic opportunities. And we also would like to just give anyone here an opportunity to also share what your perspectives are. So if you can take your QR code, just a form of engagement, you can scan this and also share your thoughts on what you think you know about circularity and regeneration. Also, if you think it's a better option compared to what we have right now as regenerative agriculture and also conventional systems as well. So feel free to just scan the QR code, and then if you have your phone, share your thoughts, and let's see what the perspectives are. So the impact on soil health, I may skip this. This is some work that we did here in the US. This is a vineyard, grape pomace. And you can see that in this vineyard, the grape pomace is the waste that comes out of wine production. The farmer kind of applied one side the grape pomace, and then the other side, the control is the traditional chemical used without the grape pomace. And you can see the contrast, right? The soil health indicators are very good there. So there is an opportunity to show you see also the nutrition aspect very good as well. And this is another farm that uses, they have fish farming, a pond where they used to fertilize. They have fish in that fish pond, and one side of the grapes, they have that water going to the grapes, and then another side is just the ordinary water from the creek. So we also kind of prove that also supports their soil health as well. And you can see the soil health indicators here are showing very good for the fish pond side. And I saw a lot of presentations around aquaculture. So that could be an opportunity area that the water coming out of these systems will be utilized in the production of vegetables and other food as well. Yeah, so in African context, this publication kind of highlights a very good opportunity area for us to see what some of these practices can do. Composting, manure, crop rotations, mixed cropping, agroforestry compared to synthetics. You can see that there is a good opportunity area for this circular regenerative system compared to the synthetic fertilizers. I'm not saying don't use synthetic fertilizer. Just as humans, we can use synthetic fertilizers as supplements and not as the number one thing that we have to go to. So that is our approach that we are looking at things. Yeah, so how can we scale? The question now is, how can we scale? How can we really scale this approach? And we have developed an implementation model. We developed an implementation tool, and we also developed a sustainable outcome-based system that can serve as an IP for the market development as well. Yeah, so the implementation model, the good thing about it is that you can use it as an extension officer to implement these practices and to track how your farmers are performing. They have a planner, we have a circularity calculator, carbon sequestration tool, and a soil health as well. So you can use it as your implementation tool. You can track each farmer and their performance in that tool, and you can see how they perform year over year. And it's also an AI base that gives you some recommendations on how to improve as well. These are the practices that are captured in the tool. When you go into the tool, you see that almost every practice that happens on the farm, from tillage, even solar systems, if you have it, rain harvesting, crop rotation, everything is captured in there. Yeah, so feel free to go in and try and see if it works for you. You can use it as an implementation tool to support your work as well. Yeah, so farmers can use it, procurement leaders can use it, sustainability leaders can use it, crop advisors can use it, researchers can use it for modeling, and we are partnering with some institutions in Ghana. We submitted for the IKI large grants to see if we get opportunity for funding. We'll be able to do a lot of work in Africa, and we are looking for more as well. So that is an opportunity area. If you are applying for grants, you can reach out. We can support you in the application process on how you can use the tool for implementation as well. Yeah, so this, I'll not spend much time on this. I've already mentioned this. So it measures soil health, it measures restoration, circularity, watershed health, biodiversity, carbon, and also give a resilience indicator as well. So this is a case study that we did in Kenya, in Kuru region. This farm is well set up. They have cattle, they have vegetable, they have pasture, they have a milking system, they have a biodigester that they use to produce biogas and all of that. So we modeled this in the platform, and I just want to share some insight from there for you to see how it works. Yeah, so it gives you an average score here to indicate whether your total improvement you are improving or not. It also gives you your best category of score. In this case, the watershed health is the highest, and it gives you a signal where you have to focus energy on. In this case, the emission area practices that influence emissions is an area that this farm has to focus on. And it also gives you the CAL. CAL is the boundary of operation. Are you operating at the farm level, or are you operating at a regional level or country level, depending on where you sell your produce and where you get your biomass that you use for soil amendment and all of this from. And it also gives you whether the farm is a conventional farm. It will tell you whether the farm is a regenerative farm or the farm is a circular regenerative farm as well. And then the total impact score is the total score, how you impact the environment and social aspect. Resource use efficiency, impact on the environment, and waste management and economic activities also be scored. Yeah, so these are just index that gives on soil health, biodiversity, watershed health, and resilience, and also carbon sequestration, and then your circularity score is also here. What we are doing is also that there is an AI base, right? So it's able to give recommendations on how you can improve under each section as well. And you see here emissions is recommending an implementation of precision agricultural practices if you're using fertilizer, optimize the fertilizer practices to reduce emission, transition to renewable energy for the farm operation, and then also more cover cropping and stuff like that. So each assessment that you do, there's going to be recommendations, and this recommendation can be tailored to country specific, that if there is extension information, we can integrate it into it, such that the recommendations are coming out of the local research and all of the work that is going on locally. Yeah, so the point is, okay, we have done all of this work. The farmer has good performance. What else? How do we develop a new market for the farmers to actually get additional value for the work that they have done? Because it's a lot of work to do all of these things, right? So we developed the Verified Circular Regenerative Program, and the idea, the core mandate is to develop new premium market and value for the farmers, and grant access to healthy food choices as well, and to establish consumer trust. As we know right now, a lot of people don't trust what they buy from the market, right? Yeah, so but when the farmer goes through this system and the external audits and all of this, there is trust that, okay, whoever has this seal, whoever has this stand on their farm is actually producing food in a way that can be trusted, and we'll have QR code on the systems that consumers can actually scan to tell the performance of the farm, what is going on the farm. And one of the projects that we submitted here in the US to do with the University of Arizona and Penn State is that we're going to actually add the nutritional factors to it, so that when they scan, they can see the nutritional fact and all of those information as well. Yeah, so it's a simple process. You first take your assessment using CAP, our implementation tool, and test your farm to see where you are. If you're confident that you'll be able to go through successfully, you apply, and then we'll go through the application evaluation process, get an external audit to verify, and then once the external audit confirm that what is reported is actually happening on the farm, then we'll go through the issuance of the verification to the farm or to the producer, whoever wants to use it, to be able to use it. And we have regulations on how to use it as well. Yeah, so we are here because we see an opportunity in Africa, in our continent, that a lot of good can happen if we take an opportunity and preserve our traditional way of farming as a preserved identity, to be able, because right now the world is basically going back to what our forefathers were doing before and calling it different names. Yeah, so why can't we hold onto it and develop a unique identity for it to be able to market it as such? It's just going to increase from here because people are becoming more conscious of the health issues related to this conventional way of farming, and people just want to understand how their food was produced. Export market, we get some challenges sometimes from our continent that some markets don't receive it. But if we have such systems in place, there will be a big opportunity for us to internally and externally market our produce as well. So if you're an individual extension agent, procurement leader, university researcher, whoever you are, that you see an opportunity in this space that you want to collaborate, we invite you to come clean heart. We are open to collaborating with aligned partners, and let's see how we can all support our food systems to be healthy, to protect our environment, and to protect our youth and grant them access to employment as well. Yeah, so I'll pause here with this closing remark that dependency on external inputs is a cost prohibitive and negative to human and environmental health implications. And yeah, we have all seen that for the most part in our world. And waste in our food system could be tackled using a closed loop system, such as the circular regenerative agriculture approach, and our traditional way of farming and food systems should be preserved in the context of science as a cultural identity for resilience and sovereignty as well. Converting traditional practice like circularity approach into a new market and traceable is a bioeconomic opportunity that AI is here to help us to be able to enhance that. So let's take that opportunity and support our food systems as well. I'll pause here and see if there are some questions that we can engage. So feel free to engage.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for such a comprehensive and insightful presentation on the work that you're doing. Thank you so much. We do have a few minutes for questions, any reflections or discussion points that you would like to pose. So I would like to invite participants to ask any questions they have. You can either type in the chat. I see that Auntie already has his hand up, so please go ahead and ask Auntie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mpanga, for the really brilliant presentation, and they also presenting the interesting innovations such as the app that you mentioned, that you presented. I wanted to ask on the decision, particularly for the regenerative agriculture as an approach. The question came to my mind from the survey, as the survey offered, if you'd have to choose one approach, would it be conventional agriculture, regenerative agriculture, circular regenerative agriculture, or none? And I'm thinking this from the perspective that if we look at the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program for the African Union, it has a strong focus on soil health. So I can imagine that regenerative agriculture coming partly from there. Also, it is highly politicized in the US, being promoted by the Secretary of Health, and the Republican Party is strong on the regenerative agriculture. While, for example, Europe EU has a stronger focus now on agroecology, while there are many other so-called, let me use the word, silver bullets: conservation agriculture, climate smart agriculture, all what you can imagine. So why particularly regenerative agriculture as you approach today, and how would you see its benefits compared to other major approaches such as climate smart agriculture or agroecology? Thank you so much, Dr. Mpanga.
Yeah, so Auntie, that's a very good question, and I would like to take it this way. Politics is going to be politics, is going to come and go. Science is going to be science, is going to be here with us, right? Yeah, so for us, we are calling it circular regenerative. But yesterday I was in an agroecology meeting organized by Vermont. They had some bank workshop that I was part of, and they shared they have a coalition that they shared their 13-point value on agroecology. When I looked at it, I still have it open here. Every 13 points is captured in the app, right? Yeah, so all the 13 points for agroecology practices is captured in the app, socially, environmentally, everything. So we call it circular regenerative, but it's kind of very comprehensive, captures the agroecology concept. Agroecology people can use it for their agroecological measurement. Yeah, so just feel free, look into it. If you have some questions, we can engage. And the beauty of it is that when you want to use it, we have an enterprise version that we can customize some of the way the questions are asked to actually capture what you really want. So we can also make it a project base for you to use it for a specific project implementations to capture whatever additional questions that you want. So though you hear regenerative in it, it's basically a climate smart approach to our food systems.
Thank you so much, Isaac. Auntie, I believe that your question has been addressed very well. In the interest of time, I will like us to move on to session 8, which will be presented by WFF, being represented by Joseph Neomukiza. So this session is going to be focusing on youth standards and digital markets. And so I would love to call Joseph Neomukiza to the floor to please give us his presentation. Thank you so much, Isaac, once again for such a wonderful presentation.
You're welcome.
I don't think Joseph is online.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I was saying that I can see and confirm that indeed he is not online as of yet. Thank you for the observation. So because of that, I would like to invite the SEA First group, or maybe before we go into that, I would like us to actually, if you have any more discussion points or any reflections from what Isaac was presenting, please feel free to go ahead and ask, and let's just discuss and dwell more on the presentation given by Isaac. I see that Jean has his hand up, so please, you may go ahead and speak.
Oh, you're muted again.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I think Jim was muted again. That's why I was raising to see if you
Can you
can.
hear me?
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes. Yes.
I'm Jean Delacroix Imbabazi. I'm representing the World Food Forum Rwanda country chapter. So we had to speak about some of the initiative here we have in Rwanda regarding the standards. So on behalf of my colleague, we are with Pacific. Pacific, are you there? Or you unmuted? And we are also with Kamanzi. So we were tasked to present a little bit about with the current initiative you have here in Rwanda regarding the youth engagement and the women with leveraging the standards through the initiative called Zamukana Ubuziranenge, which translates to the grow with the standards or quality. Is that the topic? I think you are through the same theme. Can you confirm, Matete?
Yes. So the topic is on youth standards and digital markets.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So on behalf of our chair, Joseph, we are glad to communicate to you that we are, as a chapter, collaborating with the country to leverage on the robust quality infrastructures and digital systems that support agri-food system transformation through that program of Zamukana Ubuziranenge established by the Rwanda Standard Board within recently in the 2017. So Pacific is there to assist us in moderating these discussions. So I give floor to Pacific. Pacific, please go ahead.
You're muted.
We can't hear you, Pacific. No, nothing. Okay, let's just give him a
So,
minute.
let me continue as Pacific is joining to use our time efficiently. So I was talking about how the program is operating here in Rwanda. The program is providing free technical assistance to micro and small medium enterprises, guiding them through the gap assessment so that the capacity strengthening initiative could be established. We are also training those small enterprises and medium enterprises. We are coaching them, and also in collaboration with Rwanda Standard Board, we are providing them with standards, certifications through SMARC, HACCP, or ISO, regarding on the standard that the enterprise is at. So to date, we can estimate 988 medium and small enterprise that were covered, and with 60% of youth and women owned. So in digital context, we have the eSoko, which is an online market initiative of Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, which is the digital market system, information system that was also launched back in 2027. This program is delivering real-time price data for around most of the commodities that are being produced in the country. Have around 78 commodities that are being produced. And we have around, because Rwanda is a small country, we have around 62 markets that are coordinated and also connected to the system. And the market is also dominated by mainly women. They cover around 70%, and the users of the system
Sorry.
Despite these achievements, we have gaps that are remaining. We have to leverage on the youth mitigation or youth engagement, because youth are not capacitated to deliver high quality services, and also they lack quality infrastructures as well as the literacy, the digital literacy as well. So these sessions of this program of youth uzamukana ubuziranenge, we have been able to demonstrate how these small and medium enterprises, in collaboration with the government, could also access free technical assistance certification within the priority of the governments that are there. We have also conducted some training on the impact of market transparency for the users of the system of eSoko. We have also emphasized on the equipping professionals to deliver quality services through training and different initiatives that were both online and also face-to-face, a hybrid like. So Rwanda chapter, World Food Forum Rwanda chapter is collaborating with other youth initiatives so that youth can participate and also are having the representation. So we have also been aligning these interventions programs with the Rwandan policies, as well as the program of Rwanda to transform agriculture, the 5 which is a kind of the domestication of the comprehensive agriculture program, or CADAP, post-Maraba declarations. So this is also in line of RSB, which is Rwanda Standard Board strategic plan, targeting 50% of increase in small and medium enterprises. So in a particular context of Rwanda, the World Food Forum is also a priority as we have been also getting opportunities to collaborate with different initiatives that were organized by different stakeholders, being the government, being also the FAO, and so on and so forth. So in few, this is the general perspective of how the youth are being engaged in the standards, and also the market systems around the food system transformation here in Rwanda. Thank you very much. Maybe one of my colleagues can supplement as we go on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jane. Now I would like, apologies, I didn't quite get who your colleagues are in full, so maybe they can just go ahead and add onto your presentation.
Hello, can you now hear me?
I can hear you now, but then there's still some technical voice situation going on. Can you please just speak again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear now. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you. Apologies for my internet. I don't know why, maybe. Yeah, and thank you, Jean Delacroix, for chipping in. I will go straight to our speakers. Jean Delacroix shared more about how WFF and the youth are working with Standard and Zamukano Uziranenge. My good name is Pacific Ishimwe. I'm the chair of Food System and the Nutritional Security Working Group under World Food Forum Rwanda chapter. So I also welcome Mr. Uwihaye Festus, who is the agro-processing specialist from Rwanda Standard Board, to a bit share with us how the Zamukano Uziranenge program has reached over 988 micro and small and medium enterprises, with 60% being youth and women on it. So, Mr. Festus, we would like to know what specific certification pathways, SMARC, HCCP, ISO 2000 have been most transformative for these enterprises. And also, please tell us, from Rwanda Standard Board perspective, what are the most common quality gaps you find when assessing agro-processing, and how does Zamukano Uziranenge program's maturity model address them? Mr. Festus, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Pacific. Good morning once again, or maybe good afternoon. My name is Festus Uwihaye, but I think I need to confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Like I said, my name is Festus Uwihaye. I work with Rwanda Standard Board, a government institution which is in charge of developing standards and also ensure their implementation. So coming to the agenda of the day, maybe I would start with giving a brief overview of Rwanda Standard Board. Like I said, it's a government institution, and it was mandated to develop standards It is made of, if I may say, 5 divisions: standard development division, certification, metrology, laboratories, and also the 5th one could be SPIU, single project implementation unit. This is where Zamkanuzanenge, our growth with the standards, is based. So Zamkanuzanenge program is a program which was developed in 2017 after the government of Rwanda also developed a policy on the Made in Rwanda policy, with the aim of encouraging the public to produce the products which are locally made, so that we can reduce on importation. So the mandate of Zamkanuzanenge was to assist MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprise, to catch up with the standard, so that they can achieve certifications. At the beginning, the program was focusing on youth, women, and people with disability. Starting in 2017, but currently it has extended to other sectors of life. Since that time, that maturity model, the activities undertaken, we do technical assistance related to standards, and it is done through what we call gap assessment. Through gap assessment, we visited those small and medium enterprise to see how they are implementing according to the standards. So after visiting them, then we give them recommendations of what they have to adjust or to work on to comply to standards. After the gap assessment, we do coaching. We stay with them, we show how to work and comply with the standards. Then we do plan trainings related to standard requirements, because in most cases, when we do those gap assessment, we found many MSMEs, they don't have enough information on standards. So we do plan so many trainings related to standards, so that they can have enough information. Along the way, we plan also to do the test of their product, to see if what they are producing do meet the requirement of the standard. And again, when they have some equipment which requires calibration, we do calibration as a way of motivating them, so that they remain in compliance of the standards. So in that journey, the expectation are that someone who passed through Zamkanuzanenge will be able to acquire certification very easily. So when we do those technical assistance, when someone matures, we do recommend that he or she can now start the process of acquiring certifications. So currently, the certification we have in RSB, we have a product certification, and many of SMEs, they fall in that category, because when you see the requirement for SMARC or product certifications are not, if I may say, are not complicated, because you are required only to comply with basic requirements in food processing. When we say basic requirement, those are the requirements you cannot live without. When you talk about water, we talk about premises, we talk about waste management, we talk about how you do hygiene. Those are basic requirements which I think everyone in the sector of food processing have to comply with. We have also HACCP, which is a bit advanced. It's a system certification, but some SMEs, they work hard and they are able to achieve the HACCP. We have also food safety management system, which is built on ISO 22000. We have few SMEs who managed to achieve that certification, but in generally, many of SMEs we have supported, like my colleague, they said, greater than 900 SMEs, they fall in the category of product certification. So during the process of supporting those SMEs, we encountered some issues we think maybe are hindering the progress of those SMEs to acquire different certifications. The first issue which I can mention is lack of information. You found many of FSMEs, they don't have information about the standard. So it becomes a problem when you find someone doesn't know that there is a standard or maybe there is a program which can assist you to grow in implementation of the standard. And another issue is about mindset or if I may say, maybe culture, I don't know, but maybe I think it's more of mindset. You found so many people, they don't want to change. We do sensitization, but when you see the uptake or people who comes for that program, there are not many as we expect. Another issue is about capital and finance, because when we give when we visit an SME and we give recommendation, let's take an example. It's maybe your premises, you need to renovate, you need to paint, you need to change this and this. It requires money. So in most cases, you find many of SMEs, they don't have enough capital or finance to do some adjustments which could allow them to comply to the standard. Another issue is about the business strategy. By business strategy, I can refer to some examples. You found maybe some people, they finished studies, then immediately they want to start business. They don't start with getting information on what they are going to do. Because we expect if someone wants to start a business, the starting point could be to get all required information so that when he started the business, he don't found something which is not complying. So we found so many SMEs, they have started production, yet they don't have information on standard, information on other services which can help them. Though there are all those issues, but there are strategies or actions which are in place to try to increase the uptake of Zamukano Buziranenge. The first thing we're doing as RSB, we do so many awareness and sensitization so that people, they know there is a program, there is a facility, and then it has to be used by the public. Another thing we do is that through government incentives, before the cost of certification could go higher up to 300,000 Rwandan francs. But now the government has reduced the cost of certification. It's a flat cost of 100,000 Rwandan francs. So that one also is another thing the government has done so that it can motivate people in the sector of SMEs. Another thing which is being done is to work on rapid service delivery. When considering the change in technology, there is element of providing services online, so people, they don't spend enough time working here and there, and also incorporation of AI in what we are doing in our services. And I'm very sure this one is being worked very hard so that the service is much faster than it was before. Another thing is joint support or joint collaboration. We used to have a way when institution is going for inspection or audits, they go independently. So now the change is that we want to go as a team of both standard bodies and regulatory bodies so that we do audit or inspection at once because we found that it can minimize time. Another thing also, which is linked to this joint support, is about collaboration with the other institutions. As RISB and the Zamukano program, we are mandated to ensure that the standard is being used, is known by the public. But we need to work with the other institutions so that we don't create maybe conflicting activities or conflicting scopes. So briefly, that's what I can say about standards and what has been done so far to support youth, women, and also I think I can encourage the people in the sector of any category of SMEs to use the facility which was put by the government. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Festus. A round of applause, if I may say so. You have shared with us a lot which is being done by Rwanda Standard Board under Zamukana Uziranenge program. You are impacting youth in different ways, but now allow me to welcome Ms. Nijena Hawa, who is the CEO of Wizi Limited, to share with us lived experience as youth beneficiary of Zamukana Uziranenge program. Ms. Hawa, I'm not sure if you are on, but as a young entrepreneur who has directly benefited from the Zamukana Uziranenge program, can you share your journey from the gap assessment to certification as been shared by Mr. Festus? What changed for your business after achieving certification? And also tell us how technology and digital marketing like Isoko influenced your market decision, and have you been able to negotiate better prices or access new market using real-time prices? Data, please share with us. And please, participants, if you can put on your camera, please do and write your question. We'll be having some few minutes for question and answers to our speakers. Ms. Hawa, over to you, and please put on your camera. Hawa?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, over to you.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, can.
Okay, my name is Nige Nahawa, and I'm one of the beneficiaries of Zamkano Ziranenge, but also the Zamkano Ziranenge program, and also the other programs of RISB. So I'm really grateful today to be here as one of the beneficiaries. So we did a lot during the program, and it was really, really helpful. When I started my journey as an entrepreneur, as they said, that was my first business, my first career. Uh, I went straight into business after me graduating from RICA. So I had no clue, I had no information about the programs. After joining, I didn't know what I had to do, so they helped me because there are so many things that an entrepreneur you have to comply, especially starting from your product, the standard for your product. I didn't know a lot of, I just knew how to do the product, but I didn't know how to make it meet the standard as it is required. Like for example, in my case, you need to have a certain level of sugar for a product to call the juice or a squash or a nectar. So it depends on the process on how the juice is made for you to call it that way. So the standard for the product, the standard for the process of everything that we use, like the process starting from how we receive the fruits, how we process them. So there were many things that we had to know, like PRPs, the knowledge on how can you actually process and meet the food standard or the food safety requirement for for your product to be presentable not only on the market, but also to be safe for people who consume it. So all we did the training, a lot of training with RISB, with Zamkano Ziranenge. They assisted in the documentation phase. After that, the training, we did, as they say, the testing of the product to see if they meet the quality. And the real thing that I loved about the program is that they are there to support you. It's not like they are regulators, yes, but they are supporting regulators to help you to build a sustainable business through the process of your production, to make your production a really really solid foundation of what you do. So everything was scattered. I didn't know what to start with. I was afraid. I didn't know how am I going to take my product without S-mark on the market. Everything I was afraid of, to even to approach them, it was a problem. But after approaching them, the training, the technical assistance, everything went well, went in a good line, and we finished with the zoo program. We graduated. After graduating, that's when we went into the standardization phase for the RSB to provide SMARC. So that made it easy for me because we already had the knowledge, everything. It was just to update. If we have a new product, updating the documentation. So because we have been trained on how to prepare the documentation, what is needed in every document, every what are the standards for every juice, so they helped a lot. So through the standardization, everything was so easy because I went to Zamkano Buziranenge. So I was doing what I was understanding. And now our products, both squashes, fruit squashes, and also fruit nectars. We have about 7 products plus also vinegar. They're all having the standard. They are certified. We have SMARC for all those products. So we appreciate. And this is really really linked to the if you have a standard, it is really linked to the market, because it's a significant impact for you as a business. If you have let's say a standard or an S-mark, for example, when you have S-mark on your products, people trust it, especially market clients. When they see your product have an S mark, you don't have a lot to say when you are doing marketing, so they trust your product before you say a lot of things. So we get the trust from the market. That made it easy for us to sell, because they see that we are known. We work with the RISB and FDA. They say, oh, now these people are really serious, because they know to get S mark is when you are really qualified. That's when you get it. And how does this affect our markets? I mean, Isoko or other digital platform. It affects a lot, because in this world that we are going into, everything is digital. We spend a lot of time on our on phones, on computers. So people, even though people are busy, but they tend to have a lot of time for phones rather than going in the market exploring. So people are exploring things through their phones. So staying like traditional, not going on a digital platform, is not good as an entrepreneur. So that's why a program like Isoko, they are needed. Once you have the standard, you are ready on the production capacity. Now what you need now is a sustainable market, and we are digital transformation, I can say, generation. Everything is going online, market is going online, everything, restaurant, everything is going online. People just have to order, and then they get to receive the product. So it helps through marketing. When people see you through the phone, that's enough. It helps in distribution, because most of the African business, especially not only in Rwanda, the African world, we tend to have a problem of distribution. People can have a product, but distributing it's a problem. But when you have a way to showcase it on platform like Isoko, it is easy because people will see it. It's a good way of distributing. And when people know you, when they see your products online, on other platforms, on different platforms like Isoko, they will order and then again buy from you. That is one of the things. So it's like a form of marketing, which is easy, efficient, and also sustainable. Uh, the other thing that I think that
That
digital
second,
platform help,
that
yeah,
second, Miss
is
Hawa.
last second, okay. The second thing is it helps in data. When you sell online, it helps you to keep data of your customers. That will help you easy to access them, reach them. Yeah, because you have all the information on the digital platform, and you can even maybe later sell those data to the people who want it. Thank you.
So thank you. Our speakers will still be here for entire sessions, which is going to flow, and they are going to pin their emails in the chat box so anyone can reach out to know more about, and but you can understand how Zamukano Buziranenge and other programs are impacting sustainable food systems here in Rwanda, mostly for businesses, for young women and the young people in general. And allow us in these few remaining minutes to receive questions, suggestions from participants, if any. If any, you are free to open your mic, then you ask your question to any speaker, but also you can put it in the chat. We just only have 3 minutes remaining. Yes, Kofi Akwaye, just stick to the point. 30 seconds, please. Yes, Kofi.
Okay, thank you for the insights shared. I just thought I should add my voice to the wonderful work that you're doing. From the discussions that just went on, one thing that stood out for me is the need for youth to have information. And I see that this also affects the mindset that we have and also helps to address our challenge of capital and finance when we're able to um, address it and tackle it rightly. So, in doing this, I want to highlight that it's important that we create ecosystems that allow youth to connect and learn and collaborate to access opportunities. And from my experiences, Africa Regional Coordinator with YPAD, the Young Professionals for Agricultural Development. I've worked on the RAINS initiative, and then the See First initiatives as well. And we are seeing young people leverage digital platforms for storytelling and having agroecology cafes as well. Peer learning is what is going on. And through this, we are able to have youth participate actively in the agri-food systems. So I think it's one thing I want to highlight and say thank you again. And we are seeing youth not just as beneficiaries, but co-creators. So we are able to drive innovation locally and scale impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kofi. For the interest of time, it was a good suggestion. Allow me to thank you, participant, for taking time to listen to our session 8, and thank you, speakers. First to CYA from RSSB, Jean Dolacroix from WFF Rwanda, Nijana Hawa, who is CEO of WIZI. This is a start for implementing or working with you for Zamkana Uziranenge program and other programs. We are calling for policymakers to invest in youth-ready infrastructures, development partners, to support scaling this model across Africa. Thank you for joining our session 8. Yeah, I can pass the voice to Matete. Thank you so much, all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the WFF Rwanda team, for such an inspiring presentation and highlighting just the important role of young and youth leadership and digital innovation in transforming African food systems. That was a really nice discussion going on. And finally, I would like us to proceed to the last session of the day, which is focusing on strengthening the science policy interface. And this session is going to be led by StEPPFoS. And I would just like to also just remind all the presenters to please switch on their cameras as they present, and also the people who will be adding in the discussion and asking questions when you speak. Just remember to also switch on your camera as you switch on your microphone. And now I invite our presenters from StEPPFoS over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Muko. I would like to thank everyone for attending the session. I am Rachel Isabel Mkandawire from the Food Agriculture and Natural Resources Policy Analysis Network. I am pleased to welcome you all to this session on strengthening science, strengthening the science and policy interface. So our session focuses on the critical role of bridging research evidence and policy practice in advancing sustainable food systems transformation. There are two main complementary initiatives that are contributing to this agenda under the EU Horizon, which include the Consortium Europe-Africa on Research and Innovation for Food Systems Transformation, StEPPFoS, and then the Strengthening Evidence-Based Policy Practice for Sustainable Food Systems, StEPPFoS, which are the main coordinator of the Virtual Knowledge Platform session event that we have. In this, StEPPFoS mainly supports collaboration among research institutions, policymakers, and innovation actors to strengthen research coordination and evidence generation for food systems transformation. While StEPPFoS complements this work by strengthening evidence and practice through the Pan-African Network for Economic Policy Analysis, PANAP. At the center of these efforts, there is the International Research Consortium on Food, Nutrition and Sustainable Nutrition, Security and Sustainable Agriculture, the IRC-FNSSA, which serves as a collaborative platform for strengthening all these partnerships. But for more information, I would like to invite my colleague, Antti Autio from the University of Helsinki, who will provide more insights and invite the speakers for this session. Thank you. Over to you, Antti.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the session. As Rachel mentioned, Strengthening Science Policy Interface for Food Systems Transformation, the IRC-FNSSA PANAP Science Policy Interface. So my name is Antti Autio from the Finnish University Partnership for International Development, a network of 10 Finnish research universities coordinated by the University of Eastern Finland. It's my pleasure to co-moderate today's session together with Dr. Rachel Mkandawire. And the session is co-organized by two Horizon Europe funded coordination and support action projects. StEPPFoS, the consortium, which stands for Consortium Europe Africa on Research and Innovation for Food Systems Transformation, and StEPPFoS, aka strengthening evidence-based policy practice for sustainable food systems. So food systems transformation is increasingly recognized as one of the defining policy and development challenges of our time. Across Africa and Europe, governments, research institutions, development partners, regional organizations are investing significant efforts into addressing interconnected challenges related to food security, nutrition, climate change, sustainability, food sovereignty, rural livelihoods, etc. At the same time, despite the growing availability of research evidence, analytical tools, and policy recommendations, we often continue to see a gap between knowledge generation and practical policy implementation. Policies may be well designed on paper, but implementation can remain fragmented, coordination may be weak, and evidence does not always effectively reach decision-making processes. This is precisely why strengthening the science policy interface is so important. These discussions are also highly timely. Across the African continent, ongoing comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program processes and broader continental food systems transformation agendas increasingly emphasize the importance of evidence-based policymaking, policy coherence, and stronger implementation capacities. On the European side, evolving policy discussions linked to the EU's future agriculture and food systems agenda, including the Food 2040, former 2030 process, similarly highlight sustainability, resilience, innovation, and stronger science policy linkages. At the same time, within the AU-EU Research and Innovation Partnership on Food and Nutrition Security and Sustainable Agriculture, or FNSSA in short, the renewal process of its 10-year roadmap is currently underway. If you're not familiar with it, the existing FNSSA roadmap has already mobilized more than 1 billion euros in research and innovation funding through over 700 collaborative projects and initiatives across Africa and Europe, demonstrating the importance of long-term coordinated research and policy operation. Our session today, therefore, focuses particularly on the complementary roles of two initiatives operating within this broader AU-EU FNSSA partnership framework. On one side, the CFS project supports the operationalization of the AU-EU International Research Consortium on FNSSA, shortly the IRC-FNSSA, which seeks to strengthen coordination between African and European researchers and innovation actors working on food systems transformation. On the other side, the StEPPFoS project strengthens the Pan-African Network for Economic Policy Analysis of Policies, or PANAP, which focuses on strengthening evidence-based policymaking and policy analysis capacities across African institutions. Whilst these initiatives approach the challenge from somewhat different angles, one through research and innovation coordination, the other through policy analysis and policy support, they are highly complementary. Together, they provide an opportunity to better connect the research evidence, stakeholder engagement, policy analysis, and implementation processes. This session therefore aims to reflect on a central question: how can collaborative platforms, research coordination mechanisms, and policy analysis networks work together for more effectively to support coherent, evidence-based, and implementable food system policies? Importantly, we also hope today's discussion will remain practical and forward-looking, focusing not only on why science policy collaboration matters, but also on what concrete actions, partnerships, and institutional approaches are needed to strengthen impact in the upcoming years. And with that, I would like to invite our panelists for today. So first of all, I'd like to welcome Dr. Diana Amoni Ntewusu from the CSIR StEPPFoS, the Science and Technology Policy Research Institute based in Accra, Ghana. And I would like to warmly invite Elena Mihailescu, Dr. Elena Mihailescu from AgriNatura. And finally, Benjamin Abugri from FARA, Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa. You are most welcome. And with these words, I would like to hand over the moderation back to Rachel. Please go. You're most welcome, and please, Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Auntie. Building on what Auntie has said, I would like to start with you, Dr. Benjamin Abugri. Research findings and policy analysis often generate strong recommendations, but implementation gaps still remain. From your experience, what are the most important factors that can help translate evidence into real policy action, building on the work that you are doing within your institution? You are muted.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Rahel. And it's a pleasure to be here. Good morning from Accra. So the question on the issue of research policy connection and how we can bridge this gap is one of the reasons why knowledge management is a very key component of the implementation process. And I want to take this practically from the work that we do, especially situating it within the CFS project, the StEPPFoS initiative, and then tying it together within the context of the role of FARA, which is very important to us. I mean, at the FARA level, we have always, in terms of the work that we do, we've always advocated that the science policy interface must move from occasional consultations to more structured and continuous engagement. And so the work that we do includes continually building databases of contacts, relevant stakeholders from different thematic areas, from different geographic areas, aimed at ensuring that they have the platform to engage not just physically, but also virtually. And so the work that we've done, bringing together over 40,000 stakeholders, 70% from Africa, over 20% from Europe, and the rest from the other parts of the world, has continuously supported the delivery of our mandate as a continental institution and within the context of the work that we do. One of the key initiatives or one of the outputs of this engagement, one of the key, so sorry. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so one of the key outputs of this type of intervention has been one of the outputs that you can find online on the Africa Voice on the food systems transformation, a very key document that took the voices of many African stakeholders and contributors in AR4D that came together to provide the context within which Africa would want to see the food system transformation to focus on. And this is one of the outputs that is largely online that we can always access. But within this, within the context of the AU EU FNSSA intervention, and specifically under the StEPPFoS project, the International Research Consortium is one of the key emerging institutional mechanisms that is linking the renewed EU-AU FNSA roadmap implementation. Recently, it's been outdoored as a practical mechanism or delivery mechanism that will help bridge the gap between research, policy, and practice. And it's being hosted by FARA as a secretariat at the moment, supporting coordination among governance bodies, working groups, funders, and strategic partners. We see this as a very strategic tool that is aimed at helping us bridge this gap that we have been we've been advocating for. Beyond that, in the StEPPFoS project, the StEPPFoS project, Work Package 4, which I also work closely with, has been involved in supporting the IRC in building a single knowledge management platform that provides the necessary tools to improve public access, knowledge sharing, and visibility of research activities that is linked to the FNSSA roadmap. So this is another component that we think that it's a very important tool when we take the context of knowledge management as a product or as a tool or service intervening between the policy practice gap that we are talking about. Another key issue, another key very important deliverable within that context of the project is also the integration between monitoring, evaluation, and learning and the knowledge management, which continue to work together to strengthen the evidence-based policy making. Monitoring, evaluation, learning should not only report performance indicators, it should also generate policy relevant learning. And so within the project, we have explicitly linked knowledge management and monitoring evaluation using evidence to highlight strengths, gaps, opportunities for scaling, and partnerships that can increase the impact of the FNSSA roadmap. Within that context also, we are employing the artificial intelligence and text mining to support better policy intelligence, but also quality control. That also is very important within the use of the artificial intelligence, using the human face as a very main factor in cross-checking to be sure that whatever is delivered by artificial intelligence is within the right context for decision making. Now, in the project, we have an initiative, an AI initiative called the CHAOPS. CHAOPS is a text mining tool that is developed with the technical support from CIRAT in collaboration with the partners within the project. And this is something that is supporting text mining, not just text mining, but also an additional tool called CAVITS that supports visualization, so that as you mine text, you are able to also produce outputs, dashboards that helps in terms of decision making at the various levels. But beyond that, one of the key important deliverables is the fact that the initiative have provided a database of projects, FNSSA projects, that all partners can link up to, all partners can leverage, and all partners can refer to for various decision making when it comes to work that has been done around the FNSSA context. And so the ultimate test, and as I conclude, the ultimate test is whether evidence changes decision, investments, and practice. And a strengthened science policy interface should result in better aligned policy, improved research prioritization, stronger investment decision, more coherent partnerships, and scalable innovations that respond to the Africa food, nutrition, and climate challenges. And from FARA's perspective and working within the context of the CFS, the StEPPFoS, supporting knowledge management. We think that the EU, the future of the EU FNSA partnership depends not only on producing more research, but on making research more usable, more connected, more influential. And we believe that the work that has been done within the IRC, the International Research Consortium, that is being driven by this the CFS project, and especially on the knowledge management angle where I'm taking this from, are very essential. And we believe that we'll continue to build on this, and we invite everybody to connect to this IRC consortium for greater impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Benjamin, that was an impressive summary of how we can strengthen the policy, the research policy interface. You talked about stakeholder mapping, stakeholder management, knowledge management, technology. So building on to that, Elena, how can research coordination platforms such as the IRCFNSSA and policy analysis networks, such as PANAP, work together more effectively to support coherent and evidence-based food systems policies?
Thank you. Good afternoon, at least for me, everybody. I'm Elena from AgriNatura. Just to let you know, AgriNatura is a network of 42 now universities and research institutes, mainly in Europe, but we also have partners from other continents. With regards to your question, briefly, okay, I will not have such an elaborate answer as Benjamin, but I hope it's essential and focused enough. So FNSSA, you heard it, what it can do. So based on that, I could say that it helps identifying emerging priorities, connecting actors, and create a more strategic overview across fragmented initiatives, which is one of the key gaps that we want to address in CA first and through IRC FNSSA. Complementarily, PANAP brings a different value because it helps analyzing policy trade-offs, scenarios, implementation implications, so that policymakers can make informed choices, okay? Because you have science that is supposed to feed and to help policy making, so being taken up by policymakers. But you know, and we know because we ran a series of FNSSA consultations for revising the old FNSSA roadmap, that this is a process which is institutional, financial, political. So all these three elements have to be in there, and we want through all this coordination at the global level to address these three dimensions. So the real, but can you hear me well? I did not ask in the beginning. Okay. So the real opportunity is to connect the functionalities of these networks with the welcome, I should say, and timely differences that each of them brings, because too often research coordination, policy analysis, and implementation support happen in parallel rather than as part of one whole process. So one concrete mechanism could be joint policy review interface, where strategic priorities identified through coordination platforms are tested through policy analysis and discussed with decision makers before implementation decisions are taken. And for this, we heard it that the policymakers and decision makers overall need to be involved at the right time, like from the beginning of one project, one initiative, because research results are usually visible, let's say, towards the end of the project, which might be too late to match the agenda of policymakers or even the funders. So that's my not so long answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Auntie.
Just a moment. So to continue from that, I would like to turn to Diana and ask a question on how would you see from your perspective working at StEPPFoS, how can science policy platforms such as these, but in general, better engage youth, women, policymakers, and other stakeholders to ensure that food systems decisions are both evidence-based and inclusive? Maybe you can share one kind of a successful engagement approach or recommendation that has come across within your work.
All right. Thank you very much, Auntie, and good morning to everyone. It's good to be here. First of all, I would like to conceive of the science policy interface as the interface that emerges when scientific knowledge or evidence is effectively incorporated to inform policy making. And this makes policies capable of acting as catalysts for transformative change, and also bridges that kind of gap that we have been talking about all this while. So you were asking of how various stakeholders can be engaged in ensuring that evidence is well used in decision making. And bringing it specifically to the work that we do in CSIR StEPPFoS. CSIR is an institution that sits directly under the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. And so we are supposed to provide evidence that will feed directly into the policies of this ministry. And StEPPFoS specifically has done so much work and engagement in ensuring that at some level we are able to influence policies by engaging all stakeholders, because we have the mandate of conducting research to inform policies at the ministry to ensure socio-economic development. And I'll dwell on what Dr. Marie presented yesterday. She presented on a stakeholder mapping and the network analysis. And this is an achievement through the FET project, which is being implemented by StEPPFoS. So you see the network she presented, all these stakeholders were brought together. Elena just talked about co-creation of knowledge. And so we are talking about moving beyond dialogue to co-production of knowledge or co-creation. And she talked about involving all stakeholders right from the beginning in defining research questions. And so at the end of the day, this will make the evidence owned by all stakeholders, and it will be trusted, and this will lead to effective cooperation into policy making. And so talking about the various groups like youth, we are talking about formal inclusion rules so that all participants are included right from the beginning, not as an afterthought when the policy is being implemented or after evidence is generated, then we are thinking of how to bring on board other stakeholders. We are also talking about capacity strengthening of all stakeholders who we expect to be able to co-generate the knowledge that we are looking up to. so that we can have meaningful conversations through simplified briefs and technical support so that no one is left out. And here we are talking about women, we are talking about youth, we are talking about persons living with disability, and so on and so forth. And through this, we also want to look at clear feedback loops, ensuring that contributions from diverse stakeholders are documented and integrated into policy and implementation processes. This ensures that food system policies reflect lived experiences and are socially grounded and not just technically sound. And so with this, StEPPFoS has worked so much. I'm talking about the StEPPFET project. StEPPFoS is on the StEPPFoS project. StEPPFoS is on CFIRST. StEPPFoS has also worked so much on an STDF project where we are talking about aflatoxin management in maize and granule production. And before this project, StEPPFoS has been able to influence a policy on aflatoxin, which is now being owned by the ministry that we work in. And going further, we are looking at how we will be able to create the necessary awareness, sensitization, and bringing on board all the stakeholders in the granite and maize value chain, the various roles they are playing, to ensure that they all own this policy and be able to implement it properly. So I continue to highlight the important points of co-production of knowledge and translating the evidence that is being produced into something that policymakers can understand and appreciate in the form of policy briefs and scenarios and trade-off analysis, instead of just presenting our publications and technical support, which sometimes is so bulky and technical for policymakers to break down. So I think going by all these things that I have mentioned, we can have a better interface between evidence and then decision making. And one thing I would also like to highlight here is most of the time when we talk about decision making, we leave out the private sector. But we know that through various PPP arrangements, the private sector also makes very concrete decisions when it comes to sustainable food systems. And so here I would also want to highlight the fact that StEPPFoS involves various private sector players to be able to bring our research to them, to be able to bring them on board in creating the kind of knowledge that we expect them to buy in, the kind of knowledge that we expect them to be able to build on, to also make their decisions to support sustainability in our food systems. Most of the time, evidence is generated through projects. And so you see that at the end of the project, this kind of systems are weakened and sustainability is threatened. So if we are able to bring about all stakeholders on board and also make sure that these systems are well embedded in government decision-making processes, then at the end of the day, we can see where this gap can be closed for us to see the kind of results that we are looking out for. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. And thank you all for the really, really brilliant insights. We understand that time today is a little bit limited for us, and it's been shifting a little bit. So, but we'll live with the time frame that is available. So I would suggest that we move to a reflection round on looking ahead, seeing priorities for enhanced impact. So my question to all the panelists, and because we want to hear also some reflection from and questions from the audience before we wrap up, would be, if you could prioritize one action over the next 3 to 4 years, 5 years, to strengthen the science policy interface for sustainable food systems in Africa, what would it be and why? You can focus maybe on actions that are realistic and can generate measurable impact, if you will. But let's maybe flip the order around to for the reflection, and let's start off with Diana. So, if you could prioritize one action over the 3 to 5 years, what would it be and why?
All right, so building on what I just said, I ended by saying that most of the time, evidence is project driven. And once the project ends, the interface is weakened, and then sustainability is threatened. And so looking ahead, I will talk about the institutionalization of embedded science policy units within ministries responsible for food systems. So if these systems are well embedded, and then even if we have to rely on projects which are externally driven, there will be systems that are embedded in the various ministries that are supposed to play active roles in our food systems, like our ministry that I just mentioned, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, the Agricultural Ministry, the Health Ministry, the Trade Ministry. All these ministries are very relevant when we talk about sustainable food systems and agriculture. And so looking forward, I will talk about policy coherence, which at the moment StEPPFoS is working on, and StEPPFoS is playing a very active role as far as that is concerned. Policy coherence ensures alignment across, policies that have to do with food systems across governance levels, especially in the African context. We see that our policies are fragmented and not well aligned among regions and even within national levels. So I would like to say that looking ahead, it is important to focus on policy coherence, where various policies that are already being implemented, we can look at them at the goals of the various policies, the objectives they want to implement in order to achieve the goals. And we are looking at the structure, that is the implementation activities. And so when we take various policies, we bring them around and look at all these aspects, I think we can be able to create synergies, which is very important at this moment, bring about proper coordination and collaboration to be able to look at the trade-offs that are necessary and how all these projects that are being implemented at various levels, being implemented in silos. And I think that is what the StEPPFoS project seeks to achieve by implementing the FNSSA's roadmap. And I think we are on course with the creation of the IRC and bringing about all the institutions that matter. I think looking ahead, we need to build on this. And in the end, I think at least we'll be able to close the gap that is so wide at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana. So now we see policy coherence across governance levels. And next, I would like to give the floor for Elena. Your outtake. Please, the floor is yours, Elena.
Thank you. So I do support the main idea of being concerned with what happens after project, initiative ends, because it's you've seen yourselves, it's the case always, I think, or often anyway, that we create temporary project-based dialogue spaces between science, policymakers, and a few other categories of actors which are of interest for that particular program or initiative. But after the project, what? So I think there, what is weak and it's not in place enough, so to say, is sustained institutional capacity where research, policy analysis, implementation, learning can interact continuously. So I would, if I had the decision power, for example, I would advise for that and then invest into that, because strengthening permanent science policy interfaces with these mechanisms would generate more measurable impact over the next 5 years, for example, or even more. It depends how well are organized and implemented. And yeah, again, they will help against isolated initiatives. So yeah, investing in national and, let's say, more national science policy interfaces, because they are strongly bound to each country or regional political, economic context, which will still be there after the end of the project or the program. So that's what I would advise.
Thank you, Elena. So you would try to little bit break the project cycle-based constraints that are there, and also to look at contextuality, moving on from regional to national to local context, moving across the sort of the scale and the scope of the policies.
So through the IRC, we aim to also address that, because we do have the learning mechanism in place. Benjamin very well detailed on that. So that helps the continuation of.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elena, for the brilliant comments as well. We have lovely comments in the chat as well. For example, Mwaka Luguru mentioned that I would look at strengthening women participation and emphasis the application of frameworks like RBET to increase impact and outcome. But now let's move on to the final reflection, and I would like to give the floor to Benjamin Abukri.
Okay, thank you very much, Auntie. So for me, my reflection will be the need to strengthen institutional knowledge management for improved decision making, both at the individual, the institutional, or even the country level. Now, this is very important, and I mean the submissions by my two colleagues, Dinah and Elena, already forms the basis for which there's a need for the continuity of the things that we do, so that we can improve decision making by what is available, what is accessible, and what we can use. So I look at it from two key angles. First, the platform. If we strengthen institutional knowledge management, we would have sustainable knowledge systems, like knowledge management platforms, that continue to provide most of this information, knowledge that will guide our decision making. That is one. The second part is a human factor. And the human factor, where the need to build networks that continue to co-create the solutions that we use for informed decision making. So co-creation, participatory approach, where even if it is lost in platforms, it is available with people that we can connect and resurrect for renewed maybe information that guides our decision making. So these are two key things that I think that we can build on. And I strongly agree with my colleagues that the idea around the IRC, building a more sustained institution that will continue to provide this information or some of this knowledge for decision making, is very important. And so this is where I would bring my reflection from. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. And I see Mabel Shu mentioned more collaboration networks and less competition. That's a brilliant point. And building on what Benjamin mentioned about co-creation, I like to bring on board one additional one. beside co-creation, co-design, because co-design brings, if we have co-design, co-creation, co-implementation, it brings often ownership and agency and legitimacy to the processes. I would like to hand over the floor to Rachel to moderate. We are running out of time, but I would suggest that we want to hear from everyone who's on board here, who has been listening to the panel, and so Rachel to moderate a bit on discussion and opening the floor to the audience. Over to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you so much to the speakers. I would now like to open the floor for questions. If there are any questions, any reflections, any burning issue that has not been addressed that you would like to be addressed. Yes, Rose Omari, I see your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much for all your brilliant submissions. I've learned a lot from this panel. But there's something that I keep, thinking about. The fragmentations that we are seeing, I think it's also largely due to the way our donors or the funders of our projects, work. It looks as if they work in isolation. There's no coordination among the various funding agencies. And so probably they are funding almost the same thing, and there's duplication. There is sometimes there is no proper coordination, and we are leaving out certain areas that need key funding or key attention. So I don't know if you have any ideas as to how we can also coordinate those funding aspects of the work so that it reduces the fragmentation among those who are implementing projects. Thank you.
To our panelists, who would like to give it the first take?
All right.
Yes, Diana, go ahead.
So with this one, I would like to reiterate the fact that the IRC is already doing something by bringing about all these institutions on board. And since the StEPPFoS is a bicontinental project across Africa and Europe, with time and with the platform of the IRC, I'm sure we can be able to bring coordination among the various funders, because the EU itself is funding a number of projects across Africa. And so I think it shouldn't be a too difficult thing if we are using the IRC platform to bring about this necessity to the attention of most of the donors, to be able to kind of reason together and bring synergies among the projects they are funding. Of course, no funder wants their money to go waste. If they are funding for results. And so if it comes to their attention that funding projects in isolation is not creating the kind of impact that is being sought, I think coming together will be possible. And once again, insisting on policy coherence, I think we'll be able to make a headway. Thank you.
Benjamin or Eleanor, do you want to say something on that?
I would be very practical and just say that we need to match the agenda of the funders. We also need to know their interests and the history, let's say the funding history. So we spark their interest. It's just as simple as that, in my opinion.
Benjamin, would you like to say something?
Yes, just something brief. I think that we also need, and maybe this is within the African context, the need for the openness in terms of countries' research priorities. If we are able to have the research priorities of countries publicly available and accessible, maybe even if there are duplications, we will still be addressing similar issues. And so I know there's that effort in the StEPPFoS project to try to put together countries' research priorities. But I believe that these are things that governments must be encouraged to make them, not the details, but at least the summary of the research priorities. I believe these are publicly accessible. Donors would be working within that context, and that will serve as the agenda for everybody to converge, in addition to the IRC that has been established. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see some comments in the, oh, okay, it's from Doreen. In Ghana, development partners in country have a platform where they talk about various projects and coordination is promoted. This can be encouraged in other areas as well. And she further says the MOFA is a key member in these meetings. And Elena has also shared a link on if you want to stay informed on IRC developments, you can subscribe to the newsletter just so you understand what are some of the discussions that have been that were here, that were on this session. Any other comments? I don't see any comments, any questions, any reflections. I don't see any hands. Oh, Kofi, yes, please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. And it's been a very insightful discussion. I was particularly excited about Dr. Ntewusu's comments about youth engagement. And it's great. I mean, from the insider's perspective as a member of an institution on the StEPPFoS consortium, I realized that youth is being added on not just as an add-on, but actually institutionalized. Youth engagement is institutionalized in the StEPPFoS, and not just youth, but gender as well. So I just thought I would also add this to Dr. Ntewusu's submission that the intentionality is driven by Gender and Youth Working Group, where we're learning that effective engagement happens when young people and women and the underrepresented actually are integrated across governance, research, mentorship, and policy dialogue as well, and through knowledge sharing processes. Yeah. So I think it's a very great opportunity for youth to be consulted and also supported as contributors, innovators, and future leaders within the science policy ecosystem, not leaving behind women and the underrepresented. I just thought I would highlight these great comments that colleagues have shared in the discussion. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much. There is also a comment in the chat from Mabel Shu. Great question, Rose. I think it all goes back to the need to collaborate and build networks more, like Benjamin mentioned. There are many of us doing similar activities with other organizations. How do we partner with these organizations and leverage on the strengths? Forming consortia to apply for proposals also can be helpful. As a group of more than one, we have more strength that we can leverage on. Donor funding is shrinking by the end of the day, and the level of competition is really high. A colleague always says collaborative advantage is the new competitive advantage. Yeah. Any other comments? I don't see any hands, but also in the interest of time, I think we can close the session. I would like to thank, first of all, I would like to thank the panelists for the insightful discussions. and also to all the participants for the energy. So the discussion mainly highlighted the importance of strengthening science policy, fostering strong collaboration between research and policy actors, coordination, and also ensuring that evidence translates into meaningful actions for sustainable food systems transformation. I would like to invite our partners, Farah, to deliver the closing remarks. Thank you. Mary also, are you in? Or Farah, colleague?
Okay, if I'm not seeing Mary, but maybe I can just use the opportunity to say thank you so much for this very important and very useful engagement process. Thanks to Rachel and Auntie for moderating this session, and to Mateletele, sorry if I made that your name, but for moderating the session as well. At FARA and on behalf of the Executive Director, Dr. Agri Agumia, and the coordinator for the IRC Secretariat, Dr. Irene Anofrempong, who would have been here, but unfortunately in another engagement. We just want to appreciate all the participants for this very insightful moment. We believe that this is how we co-create. We also believe that how we co-design, we co-implement is by this kind of engagement. And so we are pleased to have this engagement, and we look forward to having more of such. We wish everyone the best, and we hope to meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Farah, for the closing remarks. Thank you. And the StEPPFoS team for such a wonderful and insightful presentation. And as we come close of today's session, I would just like to sincerely thank each and every one of you, all the speakers, all the participants and partners, and also organizers for your valuable contribution throughout this virtual forum from when we started on Wednesday up until today. And truly today's session, starting with the Circular Bioeconomy and Market Systems Transformation with the Circular Planet Institute, going to the Youth Standards and Digital Markets with the World Food Forum chapter in Rwanda, and also the strengthening the science and policy interface with the StEPPFoS have just reminded us of the importance of innovation, youth leadership, partnerships, and also evidence-based policy making, as well as cross-sector collaboration in building sustainable and resilient food systems. And I would just like to thank you once again for joining us from different parts of the world, because your participation and engagement has been truly significant. And in just a minute, I would just like to invite Sitembile Mwamakamba to just give some closing remarks. She was here when we started and she gave us welcoming remarks. So I would just like to invite her once again to just give us, her closing remarks in just 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Muko. Distinguished delegates, colleagues, partners, ladies and gentlemen, I am delivering these remarks on behalf of the FANAPAN CEO, Dr. Chilidze Madzivandila. As we bring this virtual knowledge forum on sustainable food systems to a close, I would like to extend sincere appreciation to all of you who joined us over the past 3 days. On behalf of the Strengthening Evidence-Based Policy Practice for Sustainable Food Systems project, which is also known as StEPPFoS, and all implementing partners, thank you for contributing your time, expertise, insights, and experiences to this important engagement. We are especially encouraged by the level of participation that we have witnessed over the 3 days. On day 1, we had 69 people participating. On day 2, which was yesterday, we had 95 people participating. And today, at the peak of the meeting, we had about 90 people participating. And I think we are closing the session with still solid number of participants. So people have not all disappeared, which is not bad at all for, for online meetings. I think looking at the registration list that Daniel has shared with me, I can see that these participants represent governments, research institutions, farmer organizations, civil society, the private sector, youth organization, development partners, and regional and continental bodies from Africa, Europe, Asia, and beyond. Your presence demonstrates the growing recognition that transforming food systems requires collective action, sharing knowledge, and strong partnership. This forum has certainly demonstrated the value and importance of platforms such as this. In a world where our food systems challenges are increasingly interconnected, spaces that bring together researchers, policymakers, innovators, development practitioners, private sector actors, farmers, and civil society are not simply useful, but they are essential. They allow us to move beyond working in silos and create opportunities to learn from one another, challenge assumptions, share evidence, and collectively shape solutions that are grounded in both science and lived experiences. Over the course of this forum, we have engaged in rich discussions on nutrition and food safety, value addition, financing for agriculture, digital innovation, youth and gender inclusion, trade and market access, technology transfer, and climate adaptation for resilient food systems. We have had powerful reflections from people working in government, in research institutions, from innovators, and from practitioners working across different contexts and sectors. What has stood out most for me is how this forum has truly connected us across geographies and experiences. Sitting in my office in Pretoria, South Africa, I have, through these discussions, been transported into the field sites in Ghana, in Zimbabwe, in Uganda, in Malawi, and into the laboratories and research centers in Europe, into government offices in Rwanda and other parts of the continent and beyond. Through the stories, evidence, innovation, and experiences shared here, we have collectively traveled across communities, institutions, and countries, all united by a common goal of transforming our food systems. This is the real power of knowledge platforms such as the StEPPFoS convened Virtual Knowledge Forum. They help bridge the distance between research and implementation, between policy and practice, and between local experiences and global conversations. They remind us that while our contexts may differ, many of our challenges and indeed many of our opportunities are shared. The forum reemphasized the point of showcasing practical solutions already making a difference in communities. We have seen that innovation is alive, from digital agriculture tools and climate smart technologies to community-led initiatives and approaches that strengthen resilience and livelihoods. The challenge before us now is ensuring that these innovations are supported by enabling policies, investments, partnerships, and institutions that allow them to scale and create lasting impact. As we conclude, I would like to sincerely acknowledge and thank all the implementing and collaborating partners who made this forum possible. This includes FANAPAN, FARA, Azareka, CORAF, AFAS, ECDPM, and Wageningen Research Foundation, together with all participating institutions and stakeholders. I would like to especially recognize colleagues from FANAPAN and FARA who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this virtual knowledge forum a success. Coordinating a multi-day virtual forum of this scale requires dedication, teamwork, technical coordination, patience, and commitment. From program coordination and speaker management, communications, logistics, technical support, facilitation, and documentation, your efforts have been instrumental in ensuring the smooth running of this forum, and we are deeply grateful for your hard work. To all participants, especially those that have stayed the course and are still here at the very last minute, thank you for your openness, your willingness to share knowledge and experiences, and your commitment to advancing sustainable food systems transformation. The real success of this forum will be measured not only by the discussions we have had, but by how we carry forward the partnerships, lessons, and commitments into policy processes, research, investments, and actions beyond these platforms. The videos for the past 2 days are available on the FARA YouTube page. Please feel free to visit the page and share it with colleagues who may not have been able to participate in this forum. Please also do like the StEPPFoS page on LinkedIn, and let us continue strengthening the link between evidence, policy, and action as we work together towards resilient, inclusive, and sustainable food systems. Thank you once again for being part of this important journey. We wish you safe travels, virtually and physically, and we look forward to continuing the collaboration in the future. Thank you and goodbye.